I still can't get over it. Michael Bryant, when the police and the EMS leave, Kouri Richins says, "I'm rich."
Yeah, that was one of her little screen grabs. Hey, I know this is very important. We're going to get to it. The squatty potty. Yeah, the inventor has stepped into it. I'll tell you that.
Justice, where are you? Michael and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
The world is justice. Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
Justice when we see it. To be and Damila lead the way. Hoping justice will win the day. Listener clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
All righty then. I felt like I was going to sneeze again. Yesterday, this is crazy. For the first time, and I've been doing this kind of stuff for 40 years, so I started when I was 10, I sneezed on air. First time ever. I somehow had avoided that for 4 decades. I felt like I was going to do it again, but I didn't. So everything's good.
Okay. I mean, the one thing about having a streaming channel, like when we were
it's a little more raw. A little more
natural. A little more raw. I mean, if my eyes are itching or watering, we were kind of like family here. We try to like evoke people, talking to each other.
I'm the annoying uncle.
And being more real, not reality, but more real, because our viewers are real. They're watching. Some of them are just listening, cooking dinner, and things like that. So, but I did hear someone say that they don't never see our cold open. Someone was telling me because apparently the notice from YouTube comes out that the show is starting. But by the time
after it started,
yes, by the time they get on, you're into the song or you're into actual speaking, but no one hears our cold open. So I guess it's cold opening to ourselves.
Yes, I can't say it's worth rewinding to listen to it, but it seems like a weird system that the YouTube has developed that the notice comes after the fact. That makes no sense at all to me.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, what do we know? Okay, so before Kouri Richins did happen today, but sort of, kind of, it was a weird day in court. We're going to get to it, but first. Okay, I'm going to start with this because I got to go. Or I could say, let's do this one, number 2. The squatty potty inventor.
I have to tell you all, this is surprising me.
The squatty potty inventor. Now, anybody know what squatty potty is? It's basically a little step stool, is a better way to describe it, maybe, that when you sit on the toilet for number 2, that you put your feet on this. It's probably about 6 inches in height, and it raises your knees up, obviously, and creates a more natural position with which you need to eliminate. That's a fact. And in fact, if you do a little research on the Indian culture, by that I mean those in India, they for many years, their toilet was a hole in the ground, and they would sit on their haunches, and that creates that same angle. So this guy invents the squatty potty. He goes on Shark Tank. It's a big success. There you go. Now they're knockoffs of, little fancier versions. Well, this guy has now been charged. His name is Robert Edwards, 50-year-old dude, was arrested this month on one count of child pornography or cornography or whatever it is that we can't say. He's denied any wrongdoing, but that's and he sold the company. I wish I don't see the number, how much he got for it, because genius invention, and it did very well, and Shark Tank went nuts with it. Anyway, so that's that. What else you got?
Yeah. Okay. So let's
follow that.
We had a problem today with chat. Okay, when we were earlier doing our members, right? People were complaining they couldn't get on chat, and it looks like the same thing is happening today. Now, I don't know if it's a YouTube problem or we set something up wrong, and even they were taking away comments. I tried to post, as we were doing our members only on Matthew Farwell today, I tried to post the statute, the numbers of the statute.
Oh, and they would even in the comments bar?
In the comments thing, and it wouldn't let me post it. It said I was spam. I tried again. It said I was spam. So either something is going wrong with StreamYard, something is going wrong with YouTube, something's going wrong with something. So I don't know. Should we jump on somebody else's channel and see?
Wait, here, I just posted, can I comment? That's all I wrote.
Okay. And
YouTube rejected your comment.
yeah,
This usually means that it's spam. Try changing it a bit. How about can I effing comment? Can I change it to that? See if
well,
it
I
will?
can say is, let me just say, we do have one post. Somebody did get through. We want to know why.
Granny
Granny
Debbie.
Debbie. Hi, Michael. We can do that. Yeah, Granny Debbie. Okay.
What
You may
is
be the
going
lucky
on?
one. We don't know what's going on. So, those of you watching, because we can't tell you who's watching because we can't see you.
This is weird.
Check other stations. See if you can post. But we had the problem earlier also with our daily, our weekly members only, which by the way was really fabulous. If you're not a member,
It was fun. Yeah. Here's
yeah.
this one got
Oh,
through.
so
All
another
right.
one got through. Love the
Another
lead.
winner.
Another winner. Love the lead. Okay, perfect. All right. At least we know two got through. That's good. But
I'm gonna
can I
try
post
again.
it? You're gonna try again.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead
gonna
and try.
say hi all and see if that comes on.
So earlier today we did a.
Nope, it is rejected.
You got rejected as well. We did a members. I guess I should call it a members first because it is going to be released to the public this weekend. But live for the members, where we talked about this Matthew Farwell motion to dismiss, which is interesting. Could be heard next Wednesday. It's on calendar still, but I don't know if it's going to remain there or not. Lead, as in Zeppelin. Oh, I got it. Love the lead. She loves Led Zeppelin.
All right.
He,
well, for
he or she.
some reason, Justice Serve TV can't post on its own.
Apparently,
page
Love the
because-
Lead has some sort of special dispensation.
Yeah, we've got two of you.
It's
We're
so
loving
weird.
it.
I'm gonna try another one.
Okay. And by the way, this is in the middle of our rip and read on the porno potty guy. You know.
Yeah, that's maybe that was a problem.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that was a problem because we had.
Nope, rejected.
Rejected. So we're rejects. What can I say? And you know what's the interesting thing is the YouTube algorithm. One of the reasons that it pushes you out is if you have a lot of people commenting and chatting and all. And if you can't let people comment and chat, it's not going to push you out. Okay. So here we are. But we're here for all of you because we do this for you, not for us.
We got Amanda of Law Girls Not Attorneys Due Process wrote. She just sent a screenshot, and it has Justice Sir TV turned on subscribers only mode. Only channel subscribers can send messages. Are we normally on subscriber only mode?
No,
I have
we're
no
on
idea.
all. We're normally on all.
Can somebody flip that switch? I don't know.
Hey,
Missy, are you there?
can you go into there and flip the switch to all? Because I know I was putting all down. I was surprised that it was on subscribers only mode. I had all down, and everybody could get in to chat. All right. So while we're doing that and trying to figure,
wait a minute. Hold on a sec. I see a comment that's very important.
We're the owner. We're subscribers.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess it's true. Are you a subscriber to our own channel? I don't know about that.
Aren't we?
I see from the screenshot that was sent, there was a comment by Law Girls Not Attorneys Due Process. They're subscribers, and it was rejected, but she said, "Love my squatty potty." So.
Okay. All right. So something's going on we don't know about. So I do have a couple
idea.
of rip and reads, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about Guthrie, about what's happening before we get into Kouri Richins today.
So kind of a bigger rip and read on the update for her.
A much bigger rip and read and update for her. Well, this is actually one left over from yesterday that we didn't get to, and I didn't put it in the like a picture because we talk about people missing. A mom of 3 who vanished 24 years ago while Christmas shopping found alive and well, and it's absolutely true according to this article. A North Carolina mother went missing 24 years ago. She's been found alive and well. They received new information about her. She had an undisclosed location in North Carolina. Michel Hunley Smith, who's now 62 years old, basically she said she left because of family and domestic reasons. The article didn't go into more about that. But
where was that again?
She was found in North Carolina. She left to go Christmas shopping in Martinsville, Virginia. Okay, so she was found actually about she's supposed to go to 17 miles from her home to a Kmart to go Christmas shopping. Kmart used to be a store that used to exist. All right, and then she never came back. The daughter, Amanda, who's named the daughter, 14 years old, kissed her, and then they never saw her again. They got some new information about her whereabouts, and I don't know whether she started a new family or whatever. The article really doesn't go into that. But based on new information received by the detective, she was found in an undisclosed location in North Carolina.
Wow.
So I think we've got some family mending to do here. There may be some charges, there may be whatever, I don't know. And whatever the reason is, maybe she was abused, but she left her kids. Maybe it was mental health. I don't know. But take a look at it. Interesting story. Mom of 3 who vanished 24 years ago while Christmas shopping found alive and well, authorities say. And then I have one more because, it's what we do is usually so bad. And so, over my shoulder, there's Valjean, a picture of Valjean. And that we have Tubi, you have Domino, and loved our dogs, Mycroft, and all of our puppies. And this week there was a woman who abandoned her dog at Las Vegas and ended up being well because the officer took the dog. She couldn't. They wouldn't let the dog go through as a service animal, so she just left it there. A golden.
Oh my gosh! At the airport.
At the airport. And so, but in Las Vegas. But all is well. She was charged, and the officer who saved the dog now adopted it. But I wanted to show you this face, okay? Because what we do again. Now look at that face, okay? Look at that. That's a pup seal. That's a baby, a little baby seal, and this comes from Long Beach Island, where I've been known to be around in
LBI in New Jersey.
There's a Harvey Cedars, which is where I wanted to actually buy a little house on the tiny little house, like the 800 square feet, but was outbid in the crazy bidding wars. Okay, but apparently this is a she. She was on the street. Okay, it's a female gray seal and a pup. She wandered up the beach access path sometime in the early morning hours and went into the middle of the road. And luckily some driver saw her and called the police. Okay. And then she kept walking around on the Middlesex Avenue, if you've ever been on Long Beach Island. And the police kind of like protected her. Everyone protected her. She walked. She's a tiny little pup. And the stranding team from the Center and Brigantine, yes, we do have one down in South Jersey, it's near Atlantic City, was called, given a medical examination. She was very thin. She was only 34 pounds, and usually they're born at 34 pounds, and she was 6 to 8 weeks old. She was given critical life support, formula, electrolytes, and right now she is at that center in guarded condition. But she is alive because somebody who was driving was very careful, and instead of seeing what looked to be a gray lump of snow on the roadway, found this little baby seal. And I thought, just because we have one missing mom come back after 34 years, we have the dog tied up, but look at this face. Somebody did the right thing. Let's hope she survives.
Yep. Look at that little.
Look at that little
cutie.
face. Yeah. I know. Oh, cute little face.
I'm thinking of that lady and her comfort dog. Clearly, she was using it as a ruse to get on early. I mean, I don't know why they decided she couldn't take it with her, but the fact that she just abandoned the dog tells you really wasn't all that important to her as a comfort animal. Yeah. It was a prop.
By the way, Missy's telling us that others are reporting the same chat problem, so it's not just us. It's on Down Detector. This has been, going on, and we know it's been going on because we were part of it this afternoon. So we're still here. Try your best to get on, and apparently this is a YouTube problem. It's amazing how the platform that you're on, whether it's StreamYard, YouTube, they never tell you that there's problems, right? No. You get on,
you just discover it, and you can never talk to a person anyway. So
right, there are no people.
Bots are in charge.
Somebody had a great article about a bot, because it's called customer service, and there it goes Tubi again, about a bot, and asked it was an airline rebooking. Asked them, "Are you a bot?" And the bot says, "I get asked that all the time," and then asked it to do when it says basically it's not a bot. Asked it to do a calculation, like 4,237 times 6,784.7, and it did it right away, right? An answer right away, and that was a way to determine that you were speaking to a bot, which seemed like a human.
Crazy. I just posted. Can I now comment? No. Denied. Okay. All right. Fine. Let's talk about the Guthrie situation.
Right. Savannah, by the way, is now on X. If you can find her, so that she can reach more people. So she does have an X account.
Somebody had told me that because I was all spun up about the up to $1 million, and somebody's position on that was that if multiple people provide information, they can parse out the money and never spend more than $1 million. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a reasonable understanding of that. I think it should be better explained because it's just kind of hanging out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so today a couple of things going on. They had a whole team, like 10 FBI or other agents, maybe sheriff, FBI, maybe both, and yeah, all dressed up, all fancy like, and they were in the house. I know I saw a post from our buddy Mac, Cheryl McCollum, that she thought it was a cleanup crew, like, you know, that whatever mess they had made in their multiple searches, that they were going in there to kind of straighten up, but it looked like some folks in suits too. So
yeah, she thought somebody's taking a fresh look, fresh eye.
That to me scares me at this stage of the game.
And somebody else thought it was prosecutors.
Again,
right? Because they had a picture of one of the prosecutors from the area, and she was the one in a suit and heels, and it matched up.
The other thing they're doing is a buffer zone. Basically, they have a no parking around the entire neighborhood, and they've kicked the media out of that entire neighborhood. So I'm sure it got to be, you know, where are we, day 25 now? I'm sure it's gotten to be a pain in the ass for the people who live there. But to what end are you going to make that argument? You know, like, hey, I don't want people to be here to help promote the finding of Nancy Guthrie. I mean, are you going to be that neighbor? Right. But
because people leave, and people are leaving. Our friend Michael Rees is still there. He's still, you know, they've still got the drones going up, and they can see things happening. And I'm glad, because at least but a lot of the media have left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that makes sense. They've got other stories to cover, and it's the same thing we've talked about in terms of law enforcement. They can't devote all of these resources forever. Nobody wants to be the one to admit that, yeah, we're pulling X number of people out, and but they have to. They just have to at a certain point. And I think 25 days in, somebody's making those calculations now. They may wait till the end of the week, so it's officially a month. March 1st is on Sunday, and I think we're going to see that kind of force, RIF, we used to say in the federal government, reduction in force.
Unless the reward has engendered some tips, and apparently it has. Apparently there may be some new tips. So, you know, that's
whether they're valid or not, who knows?
Who knows? But you know, we're still trying to find Mrs. Guthrie for our friend Savannah.
Yeah. So that's the latest on that. Before we get into the Richins, I'm doing a calculation here. Darcy 24S, Nexus Lexus 25. These are the folks who are getting through. So take advantage of that. You can comment away with very little competition.
Right.
Love the lead, Granny Debbie. You guys are golden.
As in Led Zeppelin. As in Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Explain. Yes. I thought it was the lead first, like in the
lead. Who doesn't love the lead?
Yeah.
Love the lead. Right. Okay, so Richins, weird day today, and everybody's speculating. Oh, what does it mean? So they call the case as usual, 8:30 in the morning for them, 10:30 on the East Coast, and they're going about an hour. And the judge is like, "Okay, hold it, time out. I've got a conflict with another matter. It's going to take about an hour, so we're going to recess for that hour." Okay, so again, local time, it's 9:30. They're really just barely warming up. They take the hour off. Judge comes back and says, we're taking the rest of the day off. No explanation of any kind. Just, can you be here at 8:30 tomorrow? I'm sure the jurors are like, yeah, like we were today, pal. What's the deal? The judge, we thought, well, there must be some law in motion or something going on that the jury is just not needed for. But nope. You know, when he asks, when Judge Mrazek, I always get that right. Mrazek,
yes.
When he asks, you know, the attorneys, anything we need to put on the record? Nope. That was it.
It was gone. I mean, I got on and it was ending. You know, although he's funny. He pops up from behind the bed sometimes, and it kind of like rattles me, you know, when I see it. But apparently the rumors, it has nothing to do with this case. It has something to do with other cases. And usually there's a lot of cases going on, as we know, you know.
I mean, quite often, especially like when a jury's deliberating, you'll hear, you know, the court has moved on, the judge has moved on to other things, and they have to pause whatever that is, come back and take the verdict.
Right.
So it's not like they're sitting in the back room, you know, speculating like we do when the jury is deliberating.
And the crime scene technician, the head CSI, was back on the stand, this time for cross-examination. There were some interesting moments of cross-examination, and I don't say that meaning that interesting to the fact that it was effective, I just say it was just interesting. So I know you
Yeah.
have them pulled up.
Yeah, we got the whole thing here, the whole day.
The whole day.
The whole day. But we'll zoom through. There are definitely a couple of moments, but now we can. It's not Fashion Friday, I understand. But what do you think about Ms. Richins' attire today?
Well, they softened her look, haven't they? It's just, you know, she looks like she could host our TV show more or less, although her hair is, although, you know, they've got her under control, at least in her facial mannerisms. I haven't seen much from her, which during the pretrial hearings, she was out of control.
Well, and you know, Missy sent me the booster, a new booster, and I did not have time because of our earlier members thing. I didn't have time to play with it and see how it worked. So I grabbed a different feed this time from a different source. I don't know if it's any better or not.
Under oath.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ms. Nestor, please
I think it is better.
May it please the court. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Gibson, you and I have met before, but just for purposes of the jury, again, my name is Kathy Nestor, and I do represent Kouri Richins along with my co-counsel.
Yeah, you were here yesterday. what you short attention span theater? Come on.
So I wanted to start by just kind of revisiting what we discussed yesterday about your role in this case.
Okay.
So it's my understanding that you are, for purposes of saying it in easy, non-lawyerly way, you're the evidence lady, right?
Yes.
So all the evidence that's in.
Hey, she's going folksy. She's going, and she gets called out by the judge when she drops a couple of y'alls in there.
Okay.
Because the judge is like, who are you talking about? You know?
This case kind of comes under your purview, right?
Yes, it does.
And you're responsible for being told when it's located, right?
Correct.
If possible, photographing it where it's found.
Yes.
If not possible, then making a log of where you're told it was found.
Correct.
Keeping those logs, you know, safe and secure, right? Noting on the logs
You almost got to stop.
the day it was found, the location it was found, and by
What's
whom
that?
it was found.
Yes.
The has got to
Making
stop.
sure
We teach
then
that. We teach that at
practically
Harvard. That's
way
just like a
that it
crutch
can't
to give
be
you more
tampered
time.
with later.
Yes.
And then storing the evidence in some way that is protected from the public or from tampering.
Yes.
And by the way, where do you store all of your evidence?
In our evidence room in the sheriff's office.
Here, just right across from this courthouse?
Correct.
Right. And that room is locked,
Yes.
and only certain people have access to that room.
Correct.
And whenever anybody goes in or out of that room, they have to sign in, right?
It's a key card access. Yes.
Okay. And then ultimately your goal is throughout the investigation, if someone needs to look at something, they got to go through you and you check it out and let them look at it and then check it back in.
Yes.
Right. And then you also.
Not us. It'll come back. Trust me. The audio is better though, right?
Yes.
Anybody think it's better? Yeah, I'll remember and go with this guy
It's over
instead.
to the jury. Is that right?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Now, there is an exception for some types of evidence. For example, we've heard testimony in this trial about blood and bodily fluids and samples of tissue. You don't maintain those, correct?
Correct.
Pardon me?
Correct. Just to clarify, we do have a few items from the medical examiner's office that are stored in evidence.
But not fluid of
No.
nature, right?
No.
Because most of that is maintained by the medical examiner's office, right?
Correct.
Or the labs where those items were shipped.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other type of evidence that someone other than you has a hold of in this case?
Not that I know of.
All right. So one of the pieces of evidence that you are responsible for gathering in this case included the 911 call. Is that right?
I believe so. Yes.
And tell us what you did to obtain that call.
I believe I was booked into evidence on a USB.
On a little thumb drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And
Could you pause it for
whoever
a second?
viewed the USB and made
Sure.
sure.
I don't mean to make fun of this, but our chat is wondering whether or not it's accepting comments in Spanish versus English. and
Well,
whether
I see
YouTube
it.
is loco, and those comments are getting through. You guys are cracking me up. I'm sorry.
That's so funny.
I passed by and I didn't mean to think I didn't want you to think I was laughing at the questioning or the witness, but this is kind of hysterical. Can everyone try French
Español, sí, inglés, no.
and German and see what it has? So
You know what?
let us know. Missy
He says,
says,
"Muy
yeah,
loco."
YouTube made loco. Yeah.
Yesterday, I saw some of Bob Mata, and he disappeared for a while. They were streaming the trial during the day. He disappeared for a while, and the chat turned Spanish. And so when he came back, he was commenting on it. Maybe they were having the same issue that we're seeing today. And I don't know. My Spanish is pretty bad. But
oh, we've got Shalom. We have
Shalom. We have German.
we have German,
and we have Chinese.
Yeah, is that Chinese or Japanese?
That's a very good question. Help
right.
us, Danielle. York 5725.
Hola, bonjour. Everything gets
French.
no,
So
no
it's
French.
anti-English. Curious.
I'm sorry. I
Curious.
didn't want you to think that I was laughing at you or at her or at the defense attorney. Who actually, the defense attorney is trying to put one fact for a question which is technically correct. I know you're all interested in that because that's what you're living here to see.
Hey, this one gets through. Hey, it got through. Yo tengo dolor de cabeza.
Okay, all right. So chat on. We
YouTube's
are
giving me a headache.
We are an Olympic Village chat, shall I say?
So ridiculous. The bots are having a wild time tonight.
Okay.
They're just sitting back and laughing robotically.
That the call was in fact on it,
Yes.
and you verified that that was a true and accurate copy of the call.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, at this point, we would move to admit State's Exhibit 2-40, which is the 911 call in this case.
Is this, forgive me, just so I have context, this is the same as the one we've already heard?
I did a little snippet of it in my opening, but it has not come in yet.
Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, it's Ms.
Oh, my apologies, Ms. Sherman.
That's all right, Your Honor. My objection is based on hearsay. Certainly, there are portions of that call that may be admissible by the defense, but broad swaths of that, the state would object on the basis of hearsay.
Would you folks approve?
Sure.
Okay, let's chat about that.
And I don't know
Have
what
you
cars
ever?
are
First
here.
of all, have you heard a 911 call that's been kept out due to hearsay?
Yep. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've had a number of trials where there's an objection and it's absolutely sustained because you have to, the 911 call is
foundation for it.
hearsay. You have to lay the foundation for it. And sometimes it'll be a witness calling in, and sometimes you just want the police to say what they're going to do. But absolutely, it's a valid objection. It's especially a valid objection here when it is the defendant herself, Kouri Richins, who's making the calls, right?
So let's
they're
talk about
trying
the
to
exceptions then that they're now arguing about, which
Right.
could be excited utterance, spontaneous exclamation,
admission against
declarations
interest.
against interest. All of those things are exceptions, which I think got to
What-
come into play here.
Yeah, what the police do next. But I have seen also 911 calls excised, that certain portions of them excised.
And she did run part of it in her open. Remember that it started with that.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep. Yes, she started with that. She said that is the voice of that is it may
The
not be
voice of the widow.
of a widow.
The widow.
No,
Yeah.
we agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was a widow.
She
Yeah.
might also be the widow maker. Look at this is interesting. I know your favorite shot of the gallery, but look at the back wall.
It's
See
a
the back
mirror.
wall?
Yeah,
It's
a
a
mirror.
big mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be a mirror because sometimes, as Freud says, a mirror is just a mirror. But
Or-
it could be like two-way glass
Right.
where people can
Security.
be seen or be filming or recording
Right.
from there without disrupting the folks in the courtroom.
That could be where the cameras are, or it could be security.
It's certainly not where the pool camera is. Obviously, the pool camera is out in the courtroom, but it could be for other purposes. It could be for they're trying to maintain some anonymity of folks who might be watching. I've just never seen a big old mirror like that. Sometimes you'll see the glass cage off to the side where a defendant might appear.
So what we need is our chat to become investigators. Find out why that courtroom has a mirror in it. And then, because you can't post it in
You can tell
Anglais,
us in
you
Spanish.
can tell us in Spanish, you can tell us in Italian, you can tell us in French. Oh, well, we got this came through. I no longer
Hey!
get the One Justice Served TV membership.
So all you have to
right above.
do is donate memberships.
Donate memberships,
Get
donate
in.
money. Maybe did we put this in? If you donate memberships and money, you can get in and chat with us.
Mucho dinero.
What? That'd be sneaky.
Yeah, YouTube. I'm telling you.
So everyone, let us know. Let us know what that is. Why that mirror is there, if it is a mirror.
Yeah,
real
well, it's
mirror.
definitely a mirror. It may be two-way glass, but it's definitely reflective on one side because we can see what's. I actually kind of like the wide shot. You see the gallery, which I know you love, and then you can see what's happening at the bench in the reflection from the mirror.
Yeah.
So, I think they're getting into a pretty healthy exceptions argument here. What do you think?
But they are going to get into a healthy exceptions argument. But the thing about it is you see that the fact that it's taking so long tells you exactly that there's some issues with running the whole 911 call.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, when she ran the opening in the chat, that probably had the approval of the prosecutor and the judge for that snippet, right?
Right. We don't know who else is on it either.
Right.
Sometimes there are people in the background you can hear. Yeah, there are a lot of things that could be going on.
Right. And we don't know. We're
And I don't think they made this public. I'm not 100%. If anybody in the chat knows and can say in Spanish whether or not they made it public.
I've never done a show like this before. This is great. I love you all. I love all of you that are doing this. And whoever got the gifted membership already got it. You have to be a subscriber to get that gifted membership. It's given out randomly, and people love it because it's $2.99 a month. You can get to come and see our members only programs, which again, one of the ones we did today, and everyone was surprised that I was with you because usually you're doing them alone.
And with any luck, the person who got it speaks Spanish, hopefully. So,
Danke Shane. Okay.
Or
look at this, or emoji. We can speak emoji. We can speak.
I got an emoji for you, but I'm not sure it's a good one.
I don't think that's a good idea. No. Anyone who starts with the squatty potty to start our show.
Hey, that's a legitimate story.
No, I understand it as a little. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
And I mean, not only a health aid, great name, successful product, and now, as it seems to happen, the inventor's in trouble. But
so when I went to China for my first time to lecture, okay, about the crime scenes and law and all that, when I went into the bathroom in China. From the airport, there was just there's holes in the ground, and you can imagine I'm dressed in my Gucci heels and all.
Of course.
And then I learned that you had to bring your own TP and all. Luckily, we're back to the hotel. We were in an Americanized hotel, and then we went to do something at the embassy. And at the time, it was Hillary Clinton had just been there, and they had changed the toilets to be Americanized toilets for that. But for the rest of the trip, like it's restaurants and all, that was not so great. And, in fairness, you have to be in pretty good shape sometimes to be down there on your heels,
Yep.
and all.
You'd be calling for help. I need an assist, the dismount.
I need a crane to lift me up or whatever, and all. But yeah, so that was my story. It was like, are my Gucci heels going to make it here? I mean, am I going to make it here? And all. So, it's interesting to go to different countries and see different things. And we kind of get used to the United States. We are spoiled. We are very spoiled.
I'm zooming ahead just a little here, my 5-second increments, just to.
Okay, can you see when they come out?
Because it's very animated.
Yeah, and the reason why zooming ahead, but you can see how long it's taken. This is really a long discussion.
And the answer will be very simple. We'll either hear the 911 call or we won't.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna, or we'll hear some of it. All right, let's listen.
Any other questions about foundation related to Ms. Gibson's receipt or preservation of the 911?
Do you recall who you received the 911 call from?
Because that's who I need to
I
call.
don't recall off the top of my head, no.
They
Do you
always
know whether you downloaded it
they always have the 911 dispatcher. I mean, that's the
Right.
basic way
Usually
to lay
early.
the
Right.
foundation.
That's the foundation, right?
Yeah. Oh. So she's like, well, any idea who you got it from? Because I need to get a witness subpoena out to them.
Get yourself off of a county database.
I wouldn't have access to that. That would only be one of the supervisors in dispatch.
So one of the dispatch people gave you the thumb drive?
I don't know how it got from dispatch to me. It was booked into a locker, I believe,
And what is that?
on our evidence locker. So when it's booked into the sheriff's office, if a deputy books it in, it typically goes into the temporary locker where they drop the key and then we collect it.
Is that what happened in this case? A deputy dropped it off?
I believe so.
How do you typically in other cases gather the 911 called for evidence purposes?
It's either that way. Sometimes I will personally request it if the detective asks me to. But either way, it's just taken from the dispatch center.
This
And
should
book
never
of
be
evidence.
happening.
This should
Thumb
not be
drive got into
happening.
your
She
evidence.
should know how she got it. She should know that she hasn't called the oh my, we're seeing English. Red number, one finger, red number, one finger.
Oh, God.
I'm saying English.
Wait a
You should
minute.
know, you should know. So we're having a discovery actually going on right here. She should know from the discovery how she got it, how this person got it, and who the 911 operator was. And if she heard it, you know, there has to be a basis for, is it the real 911 call that she heard, or was she just, you know, putting into evidence something that somebody
Just-
dropped? She doesn't know. She just, you know.
Unacceptable. This is
Waste of time.
Quinn 4 says, I'm new and I very much love this channel. That's my very
Oh,
loose,
thank
loose-
you.
loose narration translation.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Room, it was maintained safe the way that we just talked about with all your other evidence, right?
I believe so, yes.
So there's no reason to believe that the 911 call that you have would have been tampered with in any way.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's it, Your Honor, unless the court thinks I need more. Okay. We're going to come back to the 911 call later in the trial.
Yes. That means the court thinks you
Whoopsie.
need more. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bottom line, Judge,
Course
am I
of
helping
evidence
myself?
restraint.
You're not. No.
That's unacceptable. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, they got a team of 3 people.
It's truly, unless you've had an agreement with the prosecutor, it's unacceptable. It just wasted the jury's time. And we only have, you know, lawyers. Okay, she's a very important lawyer in Utah. She's got the Charlie Kirk case. She knows what she's doing. You know, sometimes what happens, you get so sloppy though when you try these cases
As
that
another part
evidence
of
gets in, but when you
your
get an objection, then you don't know how to deal with it.
And I want to use our language really carefully here.
Okay,
you
wait,
can
wait.
match
Just hold on.
this-
I had to do it.
would be
Hold on. This is
helpful,
very
okay?
interesting. Speaking of language. And she
were
doesn't
there
do this in German or anything else. I think I misspelled Nacht. Somebody wrote Guten Tag, peppermint PJ 290225, and I tried to respond Guten Nacht because good night, but I think I spelled Nacht wrong. I think it's N-O, I don't know. That's wrong. N-O-C something. I don't know.
The next part I want you to listen to, because this is where I heard
Yes.
today, and quite frankly, this was something again that shouldn't have happened, because you should have had a discussion, and you'll understand when you see it with the prosecutor. So the
Yep.
prosecutor can inform their witness what they could and cannot say. So you listen, and we're going to talk about it, because you don't know what I'm talking about yet, but it'll become clear.
I'm going to back up 5 seconds because her setup is very important. Okay, so she's about to ask a very important question. Oh, nice emojis there. Mad P849. Okay, here we go. Listen to this very important exchange.
match my language, that would be helpful.
Okay, wait one more time.
Part of your duties, and I want to use our language really carefully here. So if you could match my language, that would be helpful. Okay.
Okay.
Were there calls between Ms. Richins and her family that you obtained recordings of?
Can you clarify?
On about a weekly basis there for a while, were you downloading calls between Kouri Richins and her family?
Are you talking about jail calls?
Your Honor, move to strike and need to approach.
All right.
Wah,
Wah. I move to strike and need to approach. It's your question. all right, and you said to listen to your language. She's not a lawyer. She's a
She has
witness.
no idea what that means.
She had no idea. Listen to my language. This should have been worked out. This is, again, I'm sorry, but that's very poor lawyering. This should have been worked out. Normally what you want is you talk to the prosecutor and the judge said, and the judge will give the say to the prosecutor, tell your witness not to answer the word jail calls. The reason why the fact that somebody's custody should not come into whether or not they're guilty or not, because they're gonna, people could assume she's guilty because she's in custody already. And then she moves to strike. Now that's correct. You can move to strike as non-responsive, but it was responsive.
Doesn't matter.
It was responsive.
Yeah.
He says, "What do you mean? I don't know. Understand the question."
I mean, you mean jail? You mean when she was behind bars?
Because that's the ones I'm receiving.
And so what happens is, and I think it's on, we'll see this today, the judge then instructs the jury, which reinforces, you're not to take anything from that, whether she's in custody, not in custody. Oh, man. If they ever had a doubt, that doubt's erased. She's in custody.
Yeah.
Or at least was. Remember how she phrased it? She said, for a period of time.
Yeah.
There were weekly calls for a period of time. So they could be thinking, oh, she was jailed at first and then now she's not.
That's Sheila got in. Welcome in, everyone. So this is good. But I think good evening on everyone.
Oh,
but I think what's happening is you're all having so much fun chatting and going to translation in different languages that maybe we should do a show that's just you can only comment. And
look at this.
Good
Kyle
evening,
has
everyone.
Beaten the code. He's beaten the system.
Yeah, look at that, in all caps. So putting everything together.
Yes.
Just like I put JSTV together. Yeah. So there's a way to beat whatever the blocker is that's is happening. But the show is this is like Mad Libs in chat.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I mean, you guys should do Mad Libs in chat as you're watching. Listen to this. But this should have never happened. Because she doesn't know. Listen to my language. You listen to my language very carefully and only answer in my language. Well, your language is you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. And you're asking, you're the question, what are you asking?
At the very least, even if she hadn't done it properly before they got into this witness, that point, before she asked that question in that weird way, she should have asked to approach on a break, should have spoken to the prosecution. She had many opportunities to not look like an idiot, which is what happens here. When she solicits from the witness the fact that her client's in jail or has been at some point.
And that the calls that they're going to eventually hear are jail calls. All right. Yeah. I mean, so you've basically done two things wrong. We've been in session now for like 10 minutes. All right. All right. It's very important. Primacy and recency is what a jury takes. All right. The primacy of the cross-examination is the beginning of the cross-examination. So the beginning doesn't go so well, right? We're trying to get a 911 call in and we're at the bench and this look. We can't do that. All right. Now, and then we're going to be leaving soon. And recency is you just almost like yelled at by saying, yeah, move to strike.
There are legal
Here we go.
issues that come up that I need to discuss with the attorneys at sidebar. This will happen throughout the course of the trial. There's no particular significance to any one of them. Second, please do not consider or speculate at any time during this case or during your deliberations about whether the defendant was or is in custody or was in custody at any time. That is not evidence of anything. You cannot consider that issue for any reason. Ms. Nister, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. There was a time where you downloaded home wave calls. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And those calls, when you would download them, you preserved those calls in the same way that you did all the other evidence, right?
Correct.
So it was kept in the evidence locker. No one could tamper with it or alter it.
Correct.
And some of those calls, there were transcripts made. Were you involved in the making of the transcripts of those calls?
No, I was not.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that didn't go so well. That was like.
And then so done with that. So
Well,
one other thing, during that conference, the witness is right there.
right. She can
She's
hear
not
what
a
they're saying.
dummy. She knows that something she just said has triggered this conference, and then she's right there hearing it.
Right.
So in a way, she's being educated not to go there again. But it's also just kind of it's an awkward position she should never be put in. Anyway, I saw something. This is somebody trying to figure out the system here. I can't take credit. Saw it in another chat. So people are beating the system by, just kind of bastardizing the English language or using some other language. The links that we must go to make
Links
the
that we
YouTube
go
bots
to.
happy.
Oh, I just rejected my
I'd
comment
like
back
to
to
go
Kyle
through with
Sharkey.
you kind of a timeline, I guess is the best word for it,
Okay.
of your activities on this case. And I'm not going to retread what Ms. Shervinack already covered with you. I'm going to try to talk about things that she didn't cover so we don't exhaust the jury, okay?
Okay.
So I want to talk first about the night of Mr. Richins' death when you arrived on the scene. When you arrived on the scene, you did mention there were already people present. Is that right?
Correct.
When you were there, were they still conducting CPR or had they ceased their efforts to try to revive Mr. Richins?
They were not working on him, no.
So at that point, you knew this was going to be a death scene, right?
Correct.
Okay. And was there somebody on the scene that was giving you tasks to complete, or were you just using your best judgment on what you needed to do while you were there?
I was there to assist Detective Woody.
So Detective Woody was the individual that kind of told you what she needed from you at the scene.
Correct.
And remember, she's the lead CSI,
Right.
but still subordinate to the cop, the lieutenant.
And when you first arrived, what was it that she said she needed your assistance with?
I don't recall her exact words, but to assist in documenting the bedroom.
Okay. And you did that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And one of the pictures that you took was admitted yesterday. Just a minute. For purposes of the family, this is going to be a photograph of Mr. Richins' body under the sheet in case they'd like to step out. Can we pull up Exhibit 1-7 that was admitted yesterday?
And they did show it
And publish
yesterday.
it, please.
Right. Some Long Crime didn't, but other channels did show it.
Oh, yeah.
Any objection, Ms. Shervinack?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll publish that now.
And I did find it interesting, his position at the foot of the bed, not
Okay. And this
parallel.
is a picture that you testified yesterday
Like
that
that.
you took. Is that right?
Well,
That morning?
supposedly
Correct.
she pulled him off the bed with a
Right.
sheet.
Yeah, it
Above
just
the
seems that if you're
head
pulling
of
somebody
Mr.
off the bed,
Richins,
you would
under the bed.
the short
Okay.
there is a
short way.
crumpled up
And if
sheet.
you
see
look
that?
at that, by the
Yeah.
way, that's that
And
looks
if you
like
look
that's like a
directly
massage
above it to
bed
the
or a
mattress.
Tempur-Pedic bed that lifts up. If you see the mattress.
Oh,
and
it's
the-
yeah. I'm a big fan of the adjustable
Right.
platforms,
Right.
and that's what this is. This is actually like a king size bed made up of two twin XLs side by side, so
Yeah.
that each person kind of adjusts their bed as they see fit. But yeah, to drag him off the end of the bed seems to be a lot more effort than to take him
Yeah,
off
but
the
there wasn't
side.
much. There wasn't. I think we saw a picture of that bedroom. There wasn't much on the side.
I think you're right. As I see the
Yeah,
wall,
very,
it doesn't
on
look like
both
there's a
sides,
ton
very
of room
small.
there.
Because you even asked, "Is that the master bedroom?" Because it looks so small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bed of Mr. Richins. Under the bed, there is a crumpled up sheet. Do you see that?
Yes.
And if you look directly above it to the mattress, this is one of those beds. I'm guessing it's one of those adjustable beds that's divided in the middle.
Yes.
But you can see that there is a sheet on the mattress that's the furthest to the bottom of the picture. And there's not a sheet on the mattress closest to the window. Is that right?
Correct.
And do you have an understanding of why there was no sheet on that mattress?
Yes.
What is your understanding of that?
My understanding was dispatch had instructed Kouri Richins to do CPR on Eric Richins and was then instructed to try to get him on a flatter surface for CPR. In order to do that, especially with a male, they're typically larger in weight, and so she instructed her to pull off the sheet in order to get him off the bed.
So in other words, you can't lift the body because it's literally dead weight, right?
Yes.
And
Yeesh.
so the idea is to undo the sheet from the bed and then
You know, you don't have to say that.
No,
you don't have to
don't.
say. You said it's just that he's
Happiness.
bigger than she is, and she would have a hard time. Not dead weight. Not that he's dead already. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's just not cool and it's
I mean,
unnecessary.
I don't even know if you know, is it not successful to do CPR if you're on a cushy surface because you go up and down, right?
Yeah, it's typically a little bit harder on the person.
Okay. All right. And is it your understanding that the sheet that's crumpled up under the mattress that has no sheet on it, that's the sheet that he was pulled to the ground on?
I believe so.
Right. And did you examine that sheet before it was put into evidence?
I don't recall how much I examined it, but I looked at it.
Do you still have that sheet in evidence?
Yes, we do.
And is there any blood on that sheet?
I believe there was on this.
So if there was testimony here by EMTs that blood did not start coming out until after the EMTs were there, is it fair to assume that the sheet was under Mr. Richins when the EMTs were working on him?
Can you rephrase like the sheet
Well, let me
underneath
ask
him?
this way. Why did you feel that that was an important piece of evidence to gather and keep?
Because it was where he died on.
Perfect. That's what I needed.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what you needed.
Yeah, it's like check. Thank you. I want to move ahead just a second here to some of the pill bottle discussion.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it was just another moment that was, in my mind, sort of unnecessary. But and then there's actually a point where I think she made some inroads, and we'll get to that too.
But Your Honor, just for a minute.
How about you just tell her you kept the sheet because that was the sheet that he was found on, right? And you know, you tell these things. You can move this along so quickly by telling. When you are a defense attorney, you're giving the story. You don't have to, you know, why did you feel it was important to keep the sheet? You felt it was important to keep the sheet because that's where he was found that he's died, right? Yes.
Yes,
And there
might be some evidence on it. I don't know.
Right,
Crazy.
right. A crazy thing. And you tell the story fast. Go. I mean, here we're, I don't know if I'm the jury. Now, maybe they don't care. Maybe it's nice to sit there. But
now
yeah.
they're going through an exhibit that has a bunch of pill bottles in a single bag, and there seems to be some confusion.
Okay. So that was my bad. I got the
My
bottle
bad.
mixed up. So the bottle you just looked at was something called monocycline or something like that, right?
Yeah,
And that was a prescription for Ms. Richins.
correct.
Okay. So those were found in the bathroom.
Yes,
And that includes the quetiapine.
quetiapine. Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And those were found in the bathroom.
Correct.
And where was the quetiapine bottle found?
It was in one of the baskets that was in that linen closet in the master bathroom.
Okay. So what happened to the hydrocodone bottle that was sent with the body of the decedent?
It's under the medical examiner's office protocol to keep that until they're done.
So you don't have that bottle.
I do not know.
because
So
it's
we
a
have a picture of that.
narcotic. Okay. By the way, Madeira Beach caregiver, just stop for a second. Member for 14 months. Madeira Beach, we love you. You know, you're always with us all the time. Super chat. Super chat difficult, really. Habla español. Okay. or any other language, but
Right.
English apparently. Although you can have a few English words in there, like you know, if you're an app, if I wanted to show when I tried to get to Miss Kyle Sharkey, it would take Kyle Sharkey, but it wouldn't take my answer to him. So all right, keep going, Chad. You're doing great. You're doing terrific.
You got to pepper it with exclamation marks and other punctuation. It's weird. Okay.
Correct.
So, actually almost
So if
done.
there was fentanyl residue in that empty pill bottle from 2016, we won't know it because you never took it to be tested, right?
I was never given the bottle, no.
Okay.
So that's a good point. You know, she kind of glosses over it, doesn't really dramatically make the point, but she said it. You know, if that bottle that you don't have had traces of fentanyl in it, you wouldn't know, right? Because you never saw that bottle. That's important.
And that
If
was
you're-
his prescription, right?
Yeah, the hydrocodone.
Hydrocodone.
So
right.
maybe he's putting fentanyl in there, and but oops, we didn't test that bottle.
So that is a good point. One of that old
Yeah.
bottle. Yeah.
While you were there that day, You also did not take any photos of the kitchen. Is that right?
Correct.
And you did not take any photos of the kitchen sink
Correct.
or what was in it.
Correct.
And you did not take into your custody any items that were in the kitchen sink. Is that right?
Correct.
And you also did not take any pictures of the closet.
Correct.
And later, we've had pictures be introduced. When you did your Matterport walkthrough,
Mhm.
we saw an image of a green jacket where the gummies were kind of sticking out of a pocket. That green jacket, you can't say whether that was there the day that you were there or not.
I cannot. And just to clarify, I did take, I think, 2 photos of the closet, just not that side of the closet.
Okay.
And that's pretty poor, that's poor practice, okay? Let's face it, that you have a death scene that you don't know if it's a murder scene or not at this point. And you're just taking,
Couple
you're just
here, couple
a couple
there.
there. What's very important is what is in the garbage? What is in the kitchen sink? What is in there? You're trying to now maybe it's because Kouri Richins played the widow so well, and they figured, well, this is, this. They walked into it thinking that this was just going to be he had
Sort of
cardiac
natural,
arrest.
yeah,
Cardiac
something either
arrest.
natural or drug overdose. But
Right.
still, that's poor police work because you
Right.
can't go in with that kind of bias, and that's what it is. And decide, well, it's probably not going to turn into much anyway, so I'll save the
Right.
effort. You
Yeah,
should
well,
be shooting
right.
everything, including the kitchen sink.
Including the kitchen sink,
Yes,
right, and then
including the
the toilets and everything, and then taking the wash drains out and all sorts of things at this point.
And
And she
here's
should
where
be
she's
removed from the house, and Kouri should be removed from the house.
Yes, yeah, and just put her in a comfy squad car. Here's where she's going, which I think is worthwhile, and we didn't run the direct, so I'll fill in that blank. There was a certain amount of effort made to suggest that the gummies, and remember that the defense is kind of like, oh, it's a gummies, hydrocodone, some sort of combination of the two that actually led to the death, even though fentanyl was found in the body. So there's this discussion about how mom made available these pills, how they were hidden away so the kids couldn't get to them, right? Is that worthwhile? Does it matter? So they get into a little bit of that, and not just where the drugs might have been, but other things that kids get into.
In my house, there's a woman's side of the closet, which is much bigger, and a very small man's side of the closet. Is that the way it was set up in Ms. Richins' house?
I don't recall.
Okay. And you also did not go inside the cabinet over the toilet when you were taking pictures of the bathroom and open the cabinet and see if there were gummies in there, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Also, there was a picture that has come in your Matterport where there was a little dot above the refrigerator where you said that some gummies in a clear plastic bag were found, right?
Correct.
And you didn't go above the kitchen and open that cabinet and take any pictures that morning.
No, I did not. You're referring to the morning of the death.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you for helping me be specific. I'll try to keep my dates straight. So since you were personally the one who knows where every single thing was found, isn't it true that all the gummies, with the exception of the gummies that were found in the jacket in the closet, were all stored high up where children would not be able to reach them?
I believe so, yes.
Mother of the year. Kept the gummies out of kids' reach.
All right. Just 1 second. I think we're going to move to another day. Oh, you mentioned when you were describing paraphernalia that you did not see any paraphernalia that day. Is that right?
The day of the death?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm going to get better.
You're fine.
The day
You're
of the
good.
death.
Correct.
And you mentioned paraphernalia is things that we might be familiar with, which would be like bongs or vape pens or scales or little baggies you would put drugs in or something like that, right?
Correct.
Things that would store drugs.
Correct.
Is it possible that if someone had, in your experience, when you've been to scenes, have you experienced where people put pills in different bottles than what the bottle actually says they are when they're illicit drugs?
Are you talking about like prescription bottles?
Mhm.
Yes.
So if you saw an empty prescription bottle near the body that had expired 6 years before, could that possibly be paraphernalia? If it was used to store illicit drugs?
If it was used to store illicit drugs, it could be considered.
Objection.
Thank you.
I know. I mean,
No- no
when it
speculation,
started,
objection.
it started
You
with a
also
objection
had
right off the bat.
day
But
of
there was,
death.
so.
You
The
did not
prosecution
know
doesn't
about
care
the
because
correct?
Correct.
fentanyl
Probably.
You
overdose
also
is
did
they
not
don't
go
care.
downstairs.
Correct.
Since
Fe-
then, you've
Fentanyl poisoning
through
was the
view
cause of death, so they don't care
multiple
about all
times.
this.
You're aware now that there's a kitchen downstairs, right?
Correct.
And are you also aware that there was liquor stored downstairs?
I was not.
Did you notice in all these tours that you did and videos that there was an actual beer fridge downstairs filled with beer?
Objection. There's
On-
been no
which-
foundation. I think the prosecution just doesn't care, right?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Did you notice there was liquor bottles in the cabinet in the kitchen?
I object.
downstairs?
Yeah.
I believe there were some. I'm not
What's the
sure
relevance?
about how many though.
Did you ever photograph any of those?
If I did, it would have been in my overall photographs.
Also, the day of the death when you were taking photographs, did you photograph anything in the kitchen trash?
No, I didn't photograph the kitchen.
That's poor police procedure. Nothing in the
Did you
trash.
notice?
Yeah, she's the
anything
lead and
set
she never
around
did the kitchen at all.
For example, cut up limes or drink mixes or anything on the counter. Did you notice any of that?
I didn't enter the kitchen.
Never even went in it.
No.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I won't waste my time with more questions about the kitchen. Okay. So let's move now to the next time that you were in that house, which my understanding would have been April the 13th of 2022. Is that right?
Correct.
And what was the reason you were there?
We were there to serve a search warrant.
And this is going to seem like a silly question, but I need to make the record. So when you all execute a warrant of a home, do you tell the people in advance, hey, FYI, we're going to be at your house at 9 and we're going to be searching everything you own? Do you do that?
I don't.
No.
No.
As a matter of fact, it's important for searches to be done well and done professionally, that the person not know they're coming, right?
Correct.
And you guys actually take pretty extreme steps to make sure the person's not tipped off that you're about to search their entire house, right?
Correct. But you, just to clarify, I am not law enforcement officer. I'm not sworn. So that's up to the detectives.
I appreciate you making that distinction. I will not suggest otherwise. But you are certainly a critical part of the search process, right?
Correct.
And why is that?
I'm there to document everything and photograph, collect anything of importance.
So really, I mean, you're like the hub of the whole search, right? Like everything's coming to you that they find in that house.
Correct.
Right. So I know you're not a sworn officer. Maybe you don't carry a gun, but you sure are important to the search process. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So knowing that and knowing your role, you would never tip someone off that you were coming to search through all their personal belongings, would you?
No.
And is there any reason that you all believed that Ms. Richins knew in advance you guys were coming to her house?
Well, let's find out if she has any knowledge,
Right.
and then we'll know whether or not it's speculation.
I would just ask like a more precise question. I think and I'm not picking on Ms. Fester, but I think it was you all, and I think we just need a little more.
Can we just limit the
Detail.
question to
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
It's a Southern thing.
Yeah.
Y'all is just in my
Okay.
I'm
my
not
blood.
picking on her. I just want to be clear.
I'll try not to
Would
say
you
y'all.
restate the question and limit it to this witness?
I am happy to. I will try to keep y'all out of my vocab, but it's hard. It's deep.
Folksy alert.
Did you have any reason to know that Ms. Richins either suspected there was a search coming or knew there was a search coming?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So what steps did you, not y'all, what step did you take to prepare to go to that house that morning on the 13th?
I just made sure I had enough equipment to bring to the home, whether it be packaging, tape, property seizure forms, stuff like that.
Was there a debriefing prior where all the officers and you talked about how you were going to approach the home, how you were going to approach Ms. Richins, what the plan was once you got there?
That's three questions in
There
one.
was a briefing beforehand, yes.
Did you attend that briefing?
I don't recall, but I believe I was in there for part of it.
And how many officers were planning on being at that search, to your recollection?
I couldn't put a number on it. I'm not sure.
Rough estimate of how many people were in that debrief.
I'd say at least 5.
Okay. And when you all got to the scene, did you drive your own vehicle?
No, I drove a evidence van.
And how many police cars do you remember being at the scene that morning or throughout that day?
I don't recall. I'd say at least a couple.
When you arrived on the scene, was Ms. Richins in the home?
I don't believe so, no.
Did she at some point return to the home, or were you not even involved in that process?
I don't believe I was involved in that process.
So you never even saw her that day?
I don't believe so.
At any point were you asked to go check on the items that were in her vehicle when she was stopped that day?
No,
So you don't know what was in her truck the day that she was pulled over?
no,
And no one ever asked you to like say, hey, these items were in the truck where she was removed from during our search?
I don't believe it. So, and just to clarify, you're referring to the April 13th.
Yes, all
Okay.
these questions are the 13th
Okay.
until they switch, okay? So no one asked you to inventory any of the items in her personal vehicle?
No,
Did the search warrant cover the vehicles in the house?
I believe there were 2 vehicles inside the garages that were included. I'm unaware. I wasn't part of that part of the search during her stop, so I'm unaware.
Okay.
I assume they're going to have the
Do you
detective
remember the
on.
weather
So,
that day?
One would think.
It was
Oy.
winter. It was cold.
It was
She's-
really
she's-
cold,
Yeah.
right? Snow on the ground. Remember when we used to have snow in Park City?
She just thinks that this is a softer witness is
Ah.
going to answer her questions as opposed to the detective. That's what we're doing here.
How long were you?
I don't know about you, but I'm bored.
The
of
13th?
course, everybody is. And the jury, you know, they're
I believe we were there
probably
for about a half day. We were there for
happy when
several
this ends
hours.
abruptly in just a matter of a minute or two.
Was there
You know,
also
they're probably
a
mad
member
because what the
there
hell, we
at
got
the
called in for
home
this,
on
and
that
then, well,
day from the
it was
US
getting pretty
Postal
bad.
Service that you can recall?
Yes.
So that one point she was making, here's the judge saying, "Whoopsie doopsie, gotta go." That one point she was making, you know, maybe it's worth something. The question and answer about the search warrant and why, you know, people don't know when you're going to issue a search warrant, right? They, you know, obviously that rebuts any argument that Kouri Richins staged the house, that she put things where she wanted them, or hid things, or took evidence away. Okay, you get a point for that. That's about all I got out of that.
And not testing what was in the bottles that's at the medical examiner's
Well, that's bad. Yeah,
office.
that's bad. I think that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
much more a valid ding for the prosecution. Now, we may hear from the detective something that fleshes that out. I don't know.
Right. You know, absolutely. So and you know, remember the defense is trying to say that he accidentally overdosed himself because he was a drug addict from 2016. He's hydrocodone. He had the pills to get off the drugs. They were still all there. But they were also, it could be prescribed for Lyme disease, which, you know, he had bad Lyme, he had granulomas in his lung. So, you know, but the defense is that she didn't kill him, that he died of his own hand by an accidental overdose of fentanyl.
And that's why that pill bottle not being tested is so important, because you can now put in the jury's mind those fentanyl pills in that bottle. If there is no testing of that by anybody, I don't know. I don't know if there were any in there. If there weren't, nobody tested it. Why wouldn't anybody test it for the drug that killed this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, oh, wait a second. Sui Generis says, wait a second. This is all in English. We are
This is
back.
English. Wait
We're
a
back.
second.
Sui, hi. As a juror, I was lied to in opening where defense attorney stated medicine expired in 2016 when bottle stated 2020. Right there, I'm out with the defense lying to me. It's really interesting that all we have as trial attorneys is the jury's believing us. That what we say is valid, and if we make a mistake, we own up to it. But that's interesting that one thing, and it's true, one thing can actually turn a juror off. It's the most amazing thing, especially when you have an unlikable defendant.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm gonna see if I can grab this real quick before we move
In
along.
Lemonade says, I don't see any English chatting, but there you are in Lemonade.
Are we back? I don't see any English chatting.
I kind of
Maybe we're back. Maybe we're out of language jail or whatever in the hell was going on.
I kind of like the fact that our chatters are having a great time.
Well, you can also learn. I learned.
Right, we can learn. Right, we should learn. I mean,
didn't know before.
There we go. Roby, there we go. Love you, Michael and Linda. I am late and going back to start. Need to hear every word. Yeah, and you'll hear all the beginning, and also you'll hear the fact that our chat became Mad Libs because YouTube was having a problem and wouldn't allow even us to post. We didn't realize it this afternoon. We did the members only when I tried to post a federal law. It would let me do it because it said I was spam. Our chatters stayed.
You've been called worse.
Great. That's true. True.
Okay, so here's the bottle. Hey, wait a minute. Here's the bottle that has on it, the expiration date of 2020 right there. And for those who were watching this and were led to believe that it was 2016, and she just talked about, I think she screwed up her pill bottles, which she's even admitted to doing during the testimony of this particular witness.
Right.
I think she screwed them up. And so maybe showed the picture of the wrong one, something. Because she again today mentioned pills that were 6 years older than the expiration date. 6 years from 2016 would be 2022, the year of the incident. So I don't know if she was outright lying or just plain screwed up.
Just messed them up, right? Just because we saw a few hiccups here today. Now let's remember, it is very difficult to defend a high-profile client who really has garnered a lot of hatred, okay, all over because she wrote the book. But for those who don't know the story about, Are You Still With Me? Or, about the grief for her kids, about the death of their father. And then she got arrested for causing his death by doing the fentanyl poisoning. One an attempt on Valentine's Day of all things, and then 2 weeks later killing him. According to the prosecution, according to the state of Utah. And so, she has been in jail. There's a lot of hatred going on between the families, and it's already been quite a raucous trial. Sui Generis, thank you. I love your professional opinion so much. Thank you very much for staying with us, and even through the kind of funny thing, okay, what I did see another one.
Another English one slip through.
I saw another. It's Sui Generis. We know that. Okay, and we super chat debicles. We did that. Okay, so I think I've got everybody there. But thank you for staying with us. It really is. And
hey, Madeira Beach caregiver, you owe me an email. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, all I can say to you is after watching all that, I'm going to show you the picture of the pup seal and hope the pup seal survives. Unlike the trial we're watching right now. And we're going to be watching for a while, because if this is the way it's going to go,
we got, with the first 2 days were so efficient. We moved along. I think there were 11 witnesses. Well, the same witness is still on the stand, and she's going to be back tomorrow. So maybe we'll learn more tomorrow about what the actual delay was.
This is very, very, very slow today. But as Alan Jackson would say, I mean, wait for us. But I'm not sure that's this case.
I'm waiting. I'm drumming my fingers, waiting.
Yeah, well, that's what Kouri Richins was drumming her feet a lot.
Drumming her feet.
She seems to have. They're not really showing her feet. It was like a tell. She was drumming her feet.
She definitely had the Jimmy legs. So.
Yeah. So anyhow,
I'm sure it was not guilty conscience. I'm sure it was just frustration over the process. All right, then. Thanks for joining, everybody. Mi mucho gusto.
I like aloha, peppermint PJ. Aloha. I mean, hello or goodbye.
Aloha.
All right, so tomorrow night we'll be doing Kouri Richins, and maybe Friday night. We don't know if they're trying the case on Friday. We haven't gotten confirmation of that. We'll be continuing to follow the Guthrie matter, see if anything breaks on that. Obviously, if anything breaks on that, that's going to take priority. Okay, it's going to take big priority, no matter what, because this is just a tragedy. And, this shows you why good police work is so very, very, very important.
And we take so many things for granted, so seeing how things play out in Phoenix there, it's frustrating, but it's also part of the process.
Yeah,
So
Tucson, Phoenix. I think the FBI has moved their field office now.
Oh, that's
to
right.
Phoenix,
Tucson's
to
right.
Tucson, but they moved it today or yesterday to Phoenix, so they can get more room and more people on it. So
yeah, I've been to both, and Tucson is a shadow of Phoenix in terms of anything.
But in any event, we
sophistication,
can say in now in Justice Serve TV, although we did say it in Spanish, you can subscribe, share, like, notify, and hype. All right, very important. You can become a member for $2.99 a month and all your member benefits. All right, especially Michael, who's so good at making sure all of you get a whole cross section of different things. Our lifestyles and all things, because you have to know where we're coming from. And I think that's toned down. We talk about ourselves a lot. We talk about our life a lot, because when we're giving opinions, this is where we're coming from. All right. Michael being an attorney for many years, trying many cases, me being an attorney for many years, trying many cases, and how we feel about things. So if you don't like it, you just go to another channel. That's all.
Yeah. Okay then, partner. All right.
Okay.
So that's it. We'll do it again tomorrow in some form or fashion and in some language. But
and then before you do that,
yeah.
There's been a lot of shorts, breakouts, and all. Take a look at them. Okay. Take a look at them. Go to our page. Take a look at them.
And if my Spanish was better or any other language, I would say our little lockout in that language. I can't do it. So it is never too late to do the right thing.
It's